everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of the PowerToku show. I am Josh Reed, also known as Jmann on the site, Jmann and SentaiSeiya on the Twitters, and I am joined by the always wonderful
Luis, also known as SentaiSeiya on CollectionDX and also on Twitter. So we made it to episode 2. Yay.
It's kind of spectacular that we made it to 2 whole episodes.
Yeah. How many is it before syndication?
We're almost there.
Yeah. All right. So we got lots to talk about. First, let's start off with the toy news. So first up in news, we have the SH Figure Arts Kamen Rider Bravo Durian Arms from Kamen Rider Gaim. Everybody's favorite writer from Gaim. At least I would hope.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a good person, he's your favorite writer.
If you're a good person, you love that evil, twisted writer.
Oh, yeah.
So, he is going to be a web exclusive, unfortunately. He's going to run, what, about 4,800 yen, I think, or so?
Yeah, I believe that's what it said. Yep, 4,850.
Yep. So, a little bit more once you factor in middleman fees, but he is an awesome writer, so I think I'm going to make the plunge on this one. Or take the plunge, I should say. He does come with the wine glass, so
yeah,
I think that's worth $50 right there.
Oh yeah, it is. I kind of wish that he came with the couch, but that's fine.
Yeah, you can probably find just some couch, aftermarket maker that makes some of those, 1/6 scale furniture, accessories, and stuff. So looks good. This is probably still the prototype that we saw at was it Wonderfest?
Yes.
Yeah, so looks great. I think if you want to pick them up, you might get ready to hit up your middleman and get ready to, pay whatever they're going to ask for him. I think he's going to sell out pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And, it's very unlikely that he'll be brought over to the U.S. by Bluefin. So I would say definitely pre-order this guy if you think you may want him.
Is Bluefin even bringing over the other Gaim figure arts? Because I think I
haven't heard anything.
Yeah, the only place I've seen them available is Big Bad Toy Store. A lot of the other places that carry the Bluefin products don't have either Gaim or Baron. So, unfortunate for me, because I forgot to pre-order them.
Yeah.
So I got a chance to get Baron on pre-order from Big Bad, but not Gaim. So I have to hunt him down. But it looks like Bluefin isn't bringing any of the Gaim characters over so far. So, if you love yourself some Bravo like we do, hit up your middleman.
Alright, next up on our news list is the fighting action robo Tokkyuger from Ressha Sentai Tokkyuger. This thing is basically an articulated action figure of the main robot of the show. Yeah, I mean, it's built like an action figure, almost like the Retrofire series of Megazords that we have in the US, but it looks like the articulation is much better.
It's like $9 too, I think, in Japan.
Yeah,
so.
It's $9. It's pretty awesome.
I like the proportions. I like the way it looks. I mean, I think I heard these are going to be sold at like train stations and stuff.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, so I mean, I know I'd pick this up, on my way to like Chicago or something if I was hopping on the train. Unfortunately for us, we're probably going to have to buy it through either a middleman or if one of the retailers is nice enough to sell them.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll get like a wide release. I'm sure it'll be like an action figure here, but because it's, trains, it can be sold in other places that aren't just toy stores.
Yeah, train stations, bathrooms.
Yeah.
Anywhere you go, you can probably sell a train robot in Japan.
It looks like the packaging is very similar to the what was that line in Gokaiger? The Gatai.
The joint Gatai.
Yeah, joint Gatai line. Yeah.
They're kind of like Lego type things or building block things. Yeah.
It was almost like the Japanese version of the Zord Builder system.
Yeah. So definitely a lower price point for these guys, but I mean it looks good.
Yeah, looks great. I'm definitely picking one up.
Yeah. They're probably still going to do the Gashapons, though, right?
Yeah, they still have the Gashapons and stuff. Of course they're going to still do that stuff. Of course, I heard they're changing some of the gashapon machines, and now you're getting little cans because you're getting little trains and stuff. So instead of a little ball, it's a little wider.
Okay.
But yeah.
Still, not the most unusual thing you can get from a vending machine in Japan.
Yeah, we'll not. Nah, let's just.
Yeah. With that, I think we're done with news. Before we get into a darker subject.
Yeah. Okay, so coming into reviews, we have the SIC Masked Rider Ichigo, or as I refer to it the entire review, Masked Rider Warrior Leader. I'm not sure if many people caught what I did here, but during this entire review, I just referred to it in the context of Saban's Masked Rider. Because, like, the last couple of episodes, or I think it was just the last episode, they actually did have the Showa Riders at the end of the show. But it was this weird garbled mess.
Yeah, I remember that. They, like, changed their names and stuff. I think they confused a couple of them, and yeah, it was pretty craptacular.
Yeah, and they had Rider Man in the show, like, in the footage, and they didn't even reference him at all. So they didn't name him or anything, so I started linking to other reviews that corresponded to some of the writers that were in the show. And so I didn't have a name, so I was just like, some other guy for Rider Man. But overall, continue.
So this is one of the more recent SICs, if I'm not mistaken.
This is the newest one. Just popped out. It's a really nice figure. I was really impressed. The sculpt, articulation, everything was spot on. Everything was exactly what it needed to be.
The crotch thrust, is it maximum?
Super crotch thrust. It was just overall an excellent figure. I can't recommend it enough.
So the build quality on these have been improving, correct?
Oh yeah, the build quality is fantastic now. Used to, an SIC would explode if you sneezed near it. But now they're fine. I haven't had any issues. Everything is solidly in place. Even had die-cast on the shins. That way they could call it a super imaginative Chogokin.
Yeah. And
no one would freak out.
So compared to the SH Figure Arts, how's the build quality? Is it like on par now?
Oh yeah, I would definitely say it's on par. The plastic is definitely different. It's mostly like palm plastic, whatever the squishy kind of plastic. It almost feels like a NECA action figure, except good.
Is it kind of like the Makai Kato figures?
Yeah, if you've played with a Makai Kato figure, it's exactly that.
Gotcha. It's got a little squid base I see too.
Oh yeah, it's got little SIC Ikade Biru.
And some cool effect parts for the Rider Kick and the Rider Punch.
One thing that I really loved is that the chest can actually move up and down, so you never have like a gap in the articulation, like in the chest area. And that was something that plagues a lot of SH figure arts, that whenever you bend their abs front or back, you have, a gross looking gap in their chest, and that completely alleviates it entirely.
Very cool. You got the Iron Man pose right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
A good figure when it can do the Iron Man pose and not look terrible.
And this is also an alternate head, right? With the mouth open.
It's awesome. It has basically no precedence in the show that I can find, but it looks super awesome.
I imagine there was a fan of Kamen Rider Gills out there in the design team going like, he's got to have that crazy just like, rah!
He needs an open mouth. You know what he needs to be even more terrifying? An open mouth.
Yeah. It's one thing I loved about Kamen Rider Gills, and he was just crazy looking, he would belong in the SIC line without any redesigns. Oh
yeah, I think they actually do have an SIC Gills, and it looks pretty much identical. Him and another Agito were in a 2-pack, and they look basically the exact same.
Yeah, so another Agito was another crazy, like, kind of demonic design from Agito, so I could see where they would fit in this line. And as you can tell, I really don't follow SIC, so I really don't know what's in the line, but very cool toy. And that's not the only review you did for us this week, though.
No, I did several.
You were a busy beaver.
Yeah, I don't know why I did so many, but hey, we can just go through them.
Yeah.
Next one I did was Kamen Rider Agito Burning Form from SH Figuarts.
So, this is from, obviously, Kamen Rider Agito. This is his in-between form before he becomes the all-powerful Shining form, right? If I'm not mistaken?
Yep.
Yeah.
The way I like to talk about it, it is his imperfect final form. Whenever he got Burning Form, that was supposed to be, well, you know, in the context of the show, not necessarily, you know, the behind-the-scenes stuff, but in the show, Burning Form was his final form. It was supposed to be him, you know, achieving, you know, basically the powers of God. And there was so much power flowing through him that he would just completely lose control. You know, he couldn't control the power. But eventually he learned to control the power. And once he did, he evolved into Shining Form, which surpassed the Overlord himself. So it made the Overlord wet his pants.
So, personally, I prefer the original designs for Agito, the first couple forms. I just like the simplicity of them.
Mm-hmm.
I was never a big fan of Burning or Shining form, but, I mean, this guy looks pretty good. Pretty good representation of what he looks like in the show. What'd you think about the figure?
Well, the figure looks great. The proportions look fine. Looks like a man in the suit. The problem that I had was the articulation. While he had all the joints that he needed to, most of them were hindered by something or other. Mostly the end of the shoulders, and like even the elbows didn't bend in as, you know, much as they could have. And the wrist on mine was actually like frozen in place, so I lost a bit of articulation there. And I'm way too afraid to just like force it, you know, in a different direction because I'm afraid it might break. You know,
So,
I kind of did a disservice because, you know, I think my pictures look pretty good. And, you know, people just not reading what I'm saying and just looking at them, they're like, oh, wow, this thing is great. I want this now. And they're going to feel with it, and then it's going to, like, explode, and they're going to be very sad. Because I've heard a lot of horror stories online of the shoulders actually, like, breaking on this guy. So it's definitely something to look out for. I mean, if you're a huge fan of, you know, Burning Form and you just love Agito and you want to collect all of them, then I would, you know, say go ahead and pick them up. But for casual fans, I don't think they would enjoy it.
So you'd probably make a good display piece, but not something for fiddling with.
Yeah, a great display piece, not fun for playing with.
It's sad. I mean, usually when you get an SH Figuarts, you expect really good quality, really good articulation, fit and finish, you know, near perfect. So I'm sad that one of my favorite shows got a crappy SH Figuarts.
Yeah, it's really sad. You know, it's rare for an SH Figuart to be not perfect. So, you know, this is just a lemon, I guess.
Yeah. So, let's move on to something less sad.
Yeah! Ultraman Zero!
This one was also done by you.
What are the odds?
So tell us a little bit about Ultraman Zero, because I have not watched much Ultraman.
Oh, Ultraman Zero was the star of several movies over the past couple of years. Back when Ultraman took a hiatus from being a television show, they would just release like a movie every year, and their main, you know, flagship Ultraman was Ultraman Zero. And, you know, he had several films. I think he may have had a team-up film with one of the other Ultramans. I know a lot of Ultramans made the appearance because he comes from, you know, the world of Ultramen, and he is actually Ultra 7's son. So, you know, other Ultraman characters do make appearances. But, you know, I felt I would do a disservice, you know, fully reviewing this guy like I normally do because I'm still really rusty on the movies because whenever I got the figure, for some reason I didn't bother rewatching all the Ultraman Zero movies. So I was just like, I have no idea what to do with this. So I created a comic.
Your own little story.
And it was pretty good. I enjoy this picture here.
Yeah. Little Photoshop magic, huh?
Little Photoshop magic.
Yeah.
And then this was just forced perspective.
Yeah, I was going to say, the scale seems a little bit different.
Yeah.
Yeah, between the Photoshopped one and the not Photoshopped one. Yeah.
Basically, I just used the fight scene as an excuse to go over everything the figure can do. You know, posing, articulation, accessories, all that stuff I go over.
He conveniently gets knocked into the pose where you see all the articulation and also next to his accessories, so that was very convenient.
Conveniently landed in a position that showcases my articulation. Good thing I landed near my accessories.
Yeah. So it was fun. I mean, it's a different review. It's a nice change of pace from people talking about joints and, you know, fit and the finish and all that stuff. So it was fun. It was a fun read, and I'm pretty sure you had fun doing this.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
It shows. Pictures. It shows in the review. Who took your picture, by the way?
My buddy John Rock took my picture.
In one of the classrooms?
No, that's my apartment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
See, there's an Ultraman. There is an Iron Man 2 poster in the background. Oh. There's some games and stuff on the counter.
What's that white panel in the back?
That is a projector screen.
Oh, see, that's why I thought it was a classroom.
Yeah, we have a projector in our living room because we're awesome.
Nice.
And the funny thing is, we don't actually use the projector screen as, you know, a projector screen. We just use it to cover the windows to make it dark. And we just use the wall.
So people don't see the stuff that's happening behind those windows. Mainly you taking pictures of toys, of course.
Yeah, obviously.
So, very cool review. Like I said, you've been very busy this week.
Very busy indeed.
Yeah. So, that's both the finale of the review and a preview of what's to come.
Ooh, bad choice of words. Oh.
I didn't mean it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did get this guy, but you know what? We're going to be talking about that like next week. So, I'll just put him up.
Clicky joints.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's talk about a review that you didn't do.
Let's talk about it.
So, Kamen Rider Den-O Sword Form and Momotaro's Imagine. This one was done by Ghost13, and he's very into the SICs. He's done quite a few of the SIC reviews for us. This is a 2-pack. I think, was this an exclusive?
No, this was a main release. Usually SICs would come in 2-packs. Recently they've kind of changed it up a little bit, and so you would just get one figure in the box, but normally you'd get 2, so you get a little bit more bang for your buck.
Yeah, I think Ghost13 mentioned that it's hard to get now. That's probably why I was thinking it was an exclusive.
It's just that it's several years old, and so they're not made anymore.
Yeah, and so people either have them and love them, or they sell them in the aftermarket for crazy prices. So, it's a very good review. Lots of good pictures in this.
Oh, yeah. Ghost13 is doing a great job. I love reading his reviews.
Very thorough. English is his second language, but he does a very good job.
Yeah, I applaud him.
He overcomes that language barrier very well. So let's talk about the figures themselves. Here you have Momotaro's. Both on the right side you have the picture from the show and a picture of the SIC. He doesn't look like he got a redesign too much.
Yeah, it was mostly just giving him a little bit extra curvy spikiness, making his face look a little scarier. But for the most part, the Imagines are pretty super imaginative to begin with.
Yeah, they darkened the figure a little bit, it looks like.
Either that some translucent stuff.
Yeah, so the face is definitely creepy, though.
Well, the face is creepy to start out with, so...
He grows on you in the show, though.
Oh, yeah.
He's a creepy, fun guy. So he said had awesome articulation. It just looked good. he also had the Superman pose, or not the Superman, the Iron Man pose. And there's a close-up of the face. Oh yeah, there's the translucent parts.
Yep.
So just all around a very good SIC release. Awesome job by Ghost 13 all around. Awesome pictures, a ton of pictures, and a lot of good words. And he loves this line, so expect more good things to come.
And I believe with that, we'll be done with the toy talk.
Yep.
And we can go straight into showtime.
All right. This time in Showtime, we're going to let Super Mega Force rest. We're going to talk about that one next week. We're going to catch up with last week's episode and this week's episode, because we have more important things to talk about. Some good things happening in both Kamen Rider Gaim and Tokkyuger. So first, we're going to talk about Kamen Rider Gaim. The past 2 episodes, 19 and 20. So in the last 2 episodes, both Gaim and Baron decided they were going to go infiltrate Yggdrasil, and they're going to find out what's going down. There's a lot of lying happening, a lot of blame being placed on the beat writers, and they want to know what's going on really. What are they hiding? Baron basically thinks Yggdrasil is a very weak organization if they have to control people with lies. And Gaim, he's just a nice guy. He wants to save people. He wants to, find out what's going down and why he has to keep fighting all these monsters. So during that, Baron ends up fighting with Sid, and Kamen Rider Gaim ends up going toe-to-toe with Zangetsu. And after that, Zangetsu's all like, hey, you want to find out what's going on? Do you really want to find out what's going on? Follow me. So, much like he did with Michi, Zangetsu takes him to that little area that we didn't get to see last time. And he shows Gaim. And he shows us, which I was not expecting.
Yeah. Something this big, I was expecting them to wait till like the end of the show, but it was just like, nope, episode 20. Here is the big reveal.
Yeah.
Which we're showing you on screen right now.
Yep. So basically, the big reveal is that the Helheim Forest, or the Helheim area, I should say, is this old civilization or alien civilization. They really don't know what's going on. Could be a parallel world, could be somewhere else. That basically got taken over by the Helheim Forest. The Helheim Forest is basically like a parasitic forest that drops the fruits, and the animals eat them, and then they become these monsters. And so basically that civilization ended. And the same thing is happening to our world, to the human world. And they've basically found out that we have 10 years to go before the same thing happens to us. And so they decided to keep all this a secret because they figured that it would cause a lot of panic. Countries would start fighting over all of Yggdrasil's research and try to use it for their advantage. And it takes but one malicious individual to squander 100 noble efforts, is what Zangetsu said. So basically he's saying that humanity would screw it up if they found out what was going on. And the thing I like about that, though, is they set up the story to make the viewer really feel that, with the fact that all of the people in Japan are blaming the beat writers for what's happening. They don't understand what's going on. They know something bad is happening, and they just want to blame somebody. So you can definitely see how all of humanity would take the whole fact that the world is going to end in 10 years, and it would just all go down the crapper after that. So a lot of development in these last 2 episodes. Very cool. What'd you think?
I have been loving Gaim since the beginning. The show was just so amazing. And this reveal, it almost took my breath away because I had no idea what it was. I had no idea what they were going to show us. And it was just like, wow. We now understand, the severity of the situation. If they don't put a stop to the invasive species of the Inves, the entire world's going to end, and the people that we have been fighting the whole time are actually kind of like the White Knights here. They're trying to save the world, and in doing so, they're, to the rest of the world, they appear to be, the bad guys, but they're really fighting to save the people who despise them, and that's pretty awesome.
Well, it seems like Zangetsu, isn't it, to save humanity? The other guys?
Oh, yeah, the other guys.
Yeah, they're like, well, we want to, be picked by Helheim Forest, and we want to get the forbidden fruit. And so there's definitely ulterior motives with the subordinates to Zangetsu. And that's what I love about this organization, is they seem to be going towards one goal, but there's different agendas. And so this can really play out differently depending on, you know, who gets the upper hand in the organization. I can see the show, you know, going really wonderful places with how they've set up the story so far.
Especially with Gaim partnering with Zangetsu, and then Baron partnering up with the other Energy Riders.
Cuz Baron basically hates weak people. He's kind of like Wu Fei Chang from Gundam Wing. He just hates weak people. And he sees this invasion as a golden opportunity to basically weed out the weak people. And then only the strong will survive. So, very good episode. Yeah.
Very good.
Yep. So, I think that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, we pretty much said everything. It's good. Gaim is good. Continuing to be good. Let's hope it continues to be good.
Cool.
Okay, so next up we are going to talk about Ressha Sentai Tokkyuger. Episode 3.
And 2.
And 2.
Yeah, we didn't talk about 2 last time.
Oh, we didn't?
No, because it had just come out.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Basically, the Tokkyugers are continuing their quest to stop the shadow line from expanding, and so they end up going to a station that had been taken over by them. And basically, they turned the entire town into people who were forced to duel each other. And, you know, it was, you know, a painful fight. You know, people who didn't want to duel were treated as cowards and then conceivably destroyed by the monster. And Tokkyugers wanted to put a stop to it. So they did. Not a whole lot of story going on in this particular episode, but they did mention that the reason why they are Tokkyugers is because they're as good as dead.
Yeah, I think that was mentioned at the end of the first episode.
And it continue on.
Yeah, they expand more into the, episode 2 and 3, where they're coming to terms with the fact that they're as good as dead, and they also have no memories besides the memories they share. And we got introduced to the robot lady, whatever her name was.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Wagon, I want to say?
Yeah, I think it's Wagon.
Yeah, yeah. The robot picture that loves taking selfies.
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. Okay, guys, and so for episode 3, we were continuing on the story from the second one, them going from line to line, trying to stop the shadow line from expanding, and in turn save the world. We get to know a little bit more about, you know, the Tokkyugers' backstory, that apparently they were a part of a town that was turned to shadow by the shadow line, but because their imaginations were so strong, they were ejected from the shadow line, and then they were found in the rainbow line.
Except for Red, who ended up in the shadow line's train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because apparently his imagination was so strong it even like jumped the rainbow line. But yeah, it was a very good episode. It was kind of really creepy. It was really focused on Pink, and, you know, given her character some depth, and some other things that happened that I'll talk about in just a few minutes. But the main bad guy uses the fear of death, and so he just sings this creepy song the whole time, talking about how he made a really nice coffin for you, and that he doesn't want any money, but all he asks is that you step inside and die. And it's just like super creepy, and it's a really terrifying villain, and I think it's awesome that they put that into, you know, a kid's show, essentially. But yeah, overall the episode was awesome, especially for the train fight. Because a little backstory, when this little guy was released, the first thing anyone did whenever they pulled it out...
They pulled it out.
was this. And they were like, look, it has a wiener. It's so funny. Ha ha ha. I can't believe they let that stay on the toy. It's so silly. And they were like, why didn't they think about that? But apparently it's in the show.
Yep, they did.
Because at one point the monster puts Tokkyu, the robot, into a coffin, and it's trapped, and it doesn't know what to do, so the only thing it does is it extends the train and busts out of the coffin, and then expels steam from the tip. And it was a very surreal moment, because I was like, did they really just do that? Yeah, they just did that.
Yep.
Huh, awesome. So, you know, all the lewd pictures that I'm planning on posting with this guy onto CollectionDX are therefore justified.
Yeah, they're show accurate.
Show accuracy. This thing is super accurate.
It would be a crime if you didn't post those pictures, I think.
Obviously.
So, I mean, it was good. You got to see some character depth in these last couple episodes. They talk about the fact that these 5 characters, their drive is to find out where they came from. They don't remember their hometown. They now know that it was next to the sea, which cuts it down to I don't know how many towns in Japan. I mean, they have a lot of sea.
It is an island.
Yeah. So, but it narrows down and cuts out the all the landlocked towns in Japan. They did expand on, like you said, Pink's character a little bit in the 3rd episode. I'm not a big fan of Pink.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. Something about her just hasn't really grabbed me yet. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One thing that I thought was interesting, they gave her some depth by saying that her imagination is so strong that that's the reason why the last couple of episodes she is the main character who has been like, oh, I can't do something, I'm not strong enough, and then she would just sit there and she would imagine it, and then all of a sudden she would be like, and in her occasions it would be like Supergirl or
Karate Girl.
Yeah, Karate Girl or Ultimate Girl or, you know, whatever she needed at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's because her imagination is so strong that she will get taken over by the imagination. And at one point they have to stop her because she is spinning so fast and she's going to hit the villain so hard that she would kill herself if she hit at that speed. So they had to run and like tackle her to the ground.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'll have to admit that was really cool. I can't wait to see how they refine that attack. Maybe it's going to play into the series down the line.
Yeah.
Very good couple episodes.
Yeah, I am thoroughly enjoying it, and I hope it, you know, keeps this pace. I hope it keeps up with Gaim.
Yeah. That's going to be tough, though.
Yeah, Gaim is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think Kamen Rider is always aimed at a little bit more adult audience, or, you know, older audiences, I should say.
You know, 9-year-olds as opposed to 7-year-olds.
Yeah. So I think that's why they put a little bit more intricate stories into Kamen Rider, as opposed to Super Sentai. Though, I mean, Super Sentai has had his share of more intricate stories. Mm-hmm. But we'll see.
Yep. All right, and that will do it for shows. We'll be moving on to our recommendation for the episode, and we have a special guest for you.
A very special guest. Alright, and after all that talk about toy news and toy reviews, we're going to talk about a recommendation. And joining us today is the one and only Veef.
Hello, guys.
Hey, what's up, Andrew?
Yeah, not much. I was enjoying a hockey game before you guys called on me.
Yeah. And now we can talk Toku. Alright. So, Andrew is the resident Macross expert at CollectionDX. He's also the resident Muv-Love expert. Anything else I'm missing?
Pride.
Yeah.
So, we've come together to celebrate one of the best tokusatsu movies you can still get in America. If you ever feel the need to go and violate something mechanically, just pick up Mechanical Violator Hakaider. And all of us were going to put up our DVDs, because we are awesome like that. I always love I think a lot of people do pick this up because of the English title, which isn't what it says in Japanese. It just says Jinzo Ningen, or artificial human.
Mechanical Violator is much more violent sounding, and therefore appeals to a Western audience.
You know what, though? Interesting story. I remember seeing the DVD a long time ago at Suncoast, and I thought it was going to be a lot more violating in the movie, so actually that's why I stayed away from the movie.
You thought that it was going to be one of those kind of movies.
Well, the live action was next to the hentai.
Oh,
yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if I want to go home with that movie.
Yeah.
But I heard it was a good movie from Andrew, and so I picked up the Mamiya collection, and here we are talking about the movie.
Yeah, we are.
It's interesting because, well, character of Hakaider, he's from Kikaider. He was the main rival android from that show. This doesn't really have anything to do with Kikaider. It's more or less, I think it was, what's his name, Takayuki Takeya, who does the SIC stuff?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like he just made this sweet redesign of Hakaider, and they wanted to make a movie just based around this design. And it is an interestingly weird movie, but highly entertaining, and it's basically about a bunch of grave robbers go looking for some treasure underground, and they find themselves a man. But he's more than a man. He can transform into the mechanical violator Hakaider, and Hakaider doesn't know much about himself, where he comes from, but he goes straight to the nearest city, which is Jesus Town.
It's the best name ever.
And Jesus Town is run by a visual cave rocker whose name is Gurdjieff. He's actually named after, his name is Frederick Gurdjieff, who was a guy who was into philosophy, and I believe his whole shtick was he thought that people walked around in kind of a dreamlike state and felt that if they concentrated enough, they could lift themselves into a higher plane of existence. What that has to do with Gurdjieff's ultimate goal of turning people into lobotomized flowers sitting around in their little pens, like playing with blocks, just looking like, put the blocks together. And anyway, so Jesus Town is like this weird, oppressive utopia, dystopia, and Hakaider decides that, if this piece is fictitious, then he will destroy it. And that's basically the plot of the movie.
Yeah, and going back to what you were saying earlier about how it had, nothing to do with Kikaider, I thought it was a nice little Easter egg, kind of in the climax of the movie, when he's fighting something with it appears to be blue and red with some gold accents.
Yeah,
I thought that was interesting.
That thing doesn't have a terribly interesting name. It's just called the Michael Tank.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was looking up the Japanese Wikipedia page before, and I was like, oh, okay. That's all it's called. And Michael, the nice white robot there, I love that design.
Oh, yeah.
He's basically Gurdjieff's right-hand robot. And incidentally enough, he's voiced by Kazuhiko Inoue, who a lot of people know he was Jared in Zeta Gundam. And also the indomitable Romstall Machine Robot Revenge of Kronos. So this is basically live-action evil Romstall. And yeah, he's just kind of a cool one-winged angel robot, very symbolic in that way, and he just goes around stabbing people with his fingers like he's from Fist of the North Star.
So speaking of Michael, though, I heard that the reason why Kikaider was red and blue, it was because he was imperfect. I've never actually watched Kikaider. Is that true?
Yeah, basically. That one half is like destruction. That's the red half. The other half is like peace. That's the blue half. Because there's a design for a perfect Kikaider where he's actually all blue, and his little belt is actually blue on top and red on the bottom to show that the peaceful half is, in control.
Okay. So I was thinking like maybe Michael was a nod to the fact that he was a version of Kikaider where he's complete, but then when he gets his ass kicked, he's got the red and the blue, so maybe he wasn't as perfect as his creator thought he was.
Yeah, that's true. He's sort of a weird anomaly in the movie because he doesn't do a lot of fighting for the most part. Like, he gets introduced by just kind of running up to some poor mook trying to get away from the crazy dystopia and just capturing him. And then later on, one of my favorite scenes where Hakaider just kind of tears through the entire town, gets chased by these guys on motorcycles, which the stunts in this movie are pretty good, I gotta say. Well, the stuff with the bikes is pretty dangerous. And they kind of chase him down to this one little like back of a warehouse. And the soldiers all come out, and they've got the party van, which is just a big van with a turret on top. And at the end of it all, Hakaider obviously kills all these guys. I especially do love the part where he drops his gun, and then one of the soldiers picks it up and tries to fire Hakaider's gun, and his arm falls off from his
Yes.
But at the end of it, when Michael goes to oversee what Hakaider just did, he looks at all of his poor fallen soldiers, and he like closes one of their eyes, and one of them comes out, and he's like, "Lord Michael, I'm still alive." And then Michael turns to him and says, "Why didn't you die? If you truly deserved to be one of my men, you would have fought and died." And then he just kills him.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I feel like I'm talking a little too much. I want to hear love from you guys for this movie.
It was interesting. It had, like you said, it had a lot of good stunts, good action. The story with the rebels was a bit interesting, with the girl that had the dream about, you know, that crazy-looking demon angel thing being killed by the Black Knight on the black horse. Yeah.
On a quick note, don't watch the theatrical cut if you want to understand the movie.
Yeah,
Are those scenes missing? Oh.
The director's cut is definitely the way to go with this movie. It is immaculate.
Yeah, the director's cut is about 77 minutes, and you know it's a complete story. The theatrical cut was only 51 minutes. They cut out basically all of the character scenes, anything that isn't a fight. Other weird stuff like the part where he actually saves people at the end from Gurjit's clutches. So like a lot of stuff got like just left on the cutting room floor, and it's weird that this was a 51-minute theatrical movie, but in Japan they like to do showings of multiple movies at once, so that's probably just how it was back then.
It was a double feature.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So did they actually make toys of this?
I believe one of the earliest SIC figures was Hakaider from this movie. Hakaider with his bike, Guilty, which is a fantastic name for a bike.
Yeah. So maybe they just put out the movie so they could, you know, move the toys. That could be one of the possibilities.
Well, I think the early SIC was like 5 or 6 years after this movie.
Oh,
yeah.
Never mind then.
Yeah, something like that. There was a Sega Saturn game too.
Well, there was also the Kamen Rider Zedo game on the Sega Saturn.
Oh, I'm sure that was even worse.
It was actually brought to the U.S.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
What was the name of it in the U.S.?
It was just called Mask Rider.
Oh, okay. Huh, that's weird. Because the Sega Saturn game for Hakaider is just a gun game. So, but they actually put in more like redesigned Kikaider characters you have to fight.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
So Josh, any other thoughts on this movie?
No, everything's pretty much been said. Fights are awesome. The story is convoluted. And boy, is it fun to watch.
Yeah, it's like a lot of, you know, Japanese like low budget Japanese movies. It's a lot of like you kind of have to just feel the atmosphere from this crazy dystopian society and just kind of go with the flow. I will say this is definitely a lot better than the other infamous live-action redesign of a classic Shotaro Ishinomori hero. Josh knows which one I'm talking about.
Oh, it took me a second. We're going to be talking about that one in a later episode, so we'll have you back.
Oh, that movie's more terrible than it is wonderful.
I'm definitely making it a recommendation on one of our episodes.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, Andrew, thanks for joining us for the recommendation section. And I think that does it for the show, right?
Thank you guys for having me on.
All right. So, Andrew, where can people find you?
Well, people can, of course, find me on CollectionDX.com reviewing a bunch of things that only I care about. You can also find me on Twitter, @VF5SS, where you'll find lots of GIFs and videos from Special Armored Battalion Dorvac. I just finished that today, so I no longer have any Dorvac stuff to post.
Oh, well, maybe that's a good thing. Or a tragically bad thing.
Yeah, I decided to watch this other thing now. It was inspired by Muv-Love. I heard it's about, like, giants or something. I don't know.
Okay. So you guys, I'm Josh Reed. You guys can catch me on CollectionDX as Jman, or on the Twitters at JmanDX. Pretty much just talking about all the stuff that I already talk about on this show.
It's pretty glorious.
Mm-hmm. As for me, you can find me also on CollectionDX under SentaiSeiya, and on Twitter at SentaiSeiya, talking about Saint Seiya and all that good stuff, and Super Sentai and Kamen Rider. But before we go, though, I did want to mention that there is a show coming up in Massachusetts called Super Robots Giant Monsters. And this show is basically sponsored by CDX. It's Josh Bernard's little baby. It's his dream project of doing a toy show / art gallery. And it is going to be in Lowell, Massachusetts, which means nothing to me because I live in Chicago. But if you live in the New England area, it seems to be shaping up to be a really good time, and you should definitely go check it out. Veef, you going to be there?
Oh, I didn't know that I was still on. I was taking a nice sip of my tea here. Yes, I'm totally going to be there.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I forgot to add you into the little box. I'll superimpose your image.
Okay.
So if you want to meet Beef and Josh Beef from CDX, they're going to be hanging out, checking out the toys. There's going to be vendors. There's going to be people doing, art and all that kind of stuff, selling prints. It's going to be at Mill Number 5 in Lowell, Massachusetts. From what I heard, that's a really cool happening place. It's a really neat venue for doing this type of thing. I think Josh is up to about like 50 vendors now, I want to say.
Yeah, it's getting pretty awesome.
Yeah. I'm sad I'm not going to be there, though.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to be there either. So if you guys were hoping on meeting us in person, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
At least you can meet, Josh B., the big man, the man with the plan, the man who is the reason why we are all here.
Yeah. Jesus? Oh, Josh.
Welcome to Jesus Town.
Yeah, I was going to make that joke.
Alrighty, so I think that's it for the show. Thank you guys for tuning in.